BSA organization. We are Brian and Brenda Forbes. We're with Johnny Appleseed Trail District, and we are the outgoing district popcorn kernels. But we've been asked to make a little video what to expect at our distribution centers. First of all, when you make an order, it goes into, obviously, council office, and they tally it all up. And they stay in communication with our district popcorn kernels, such as myself and Brian. We get the emails, we know exactly how much you've ordered and everything. And then right before the orders come in, the week before, then you guys would pick all the popcorn up. We get an actual tally saying what units, both troop and packs, have ordered and how much you have ordered, what your total value is. And that week, usually on Monday or Tuesday, this is how I do it. Now, keep in mind, other districts might do it a little bit differently, but we found that this has worked, fairly well for Johnny Appleseed. On Monday and Tuesday, I take the time to either contact you by text or phone number and set up a time to come out and help sort on Friday night or pick up on Saturday. I do that on Monday and Tuesday primarily because if I try to call, anytime earlier, then I find that people tend to forget that they had an obligation either Friday or Saturday to do popcorn. And then Brian and I are sitting there forever trying to figure out where you're at and what are we going to do with truckloads full of popcorn. So let's just start with, I've called you and you've said, oh sure, we'll come out Friday night and we'll help sort. How this works. Here in our district, we are graced with Gordon Rupp. They let us come out the night before, and I invite anyone, any and all members, troop and pack, to come out and help sort. And what they do is they come out, and there's pallets full of popcorn, and we have to sort it all out, put in the pretzels with one pile, and the sailboats in the next, and the crosses in another pile. And once everybody is sorted, then I start handing out the order forms. And groups of adults and youth, because in our district I have allowed, and we started this a few years ago, for our members, our scout members, to come out and help as well. They need to be a part of this. They're the ones that have actually sold it, so why not have them come out and do full circle and see what happens behind the scenes. As long as they're in control, they're not running up and down the aisles, because that's a major no-no, and they're old enough to actually help. We allow the kids to come and help, and the parents appreciate that. So teams get together, they're given a skid and those pallet jack things, right, and they run around and they fill the orders. And they are assigned a spot where they then take that order. And then another group comes along after that and counts and double checks that order. Each time the person that's filling the order, the person that is then counting it, then puts their initials on it. And then when those are all done, the groups that are there, the units that are there that night to help sort, we usually break out and we have pizza and pop and potato chips or whatever we decide to bring, and we sit around and we giggle and we laugh and we have some good fellowship. Then when all that's done and everybody's wanting to go home, then the units take off and they go find their order, and they're responsible for having a third check. They check it again, making sure that the first and the second checkers actually did their job right and everything is accounted for. Once we have 3 sets of initials on that order form, they can pull their vehicle in, load it up, and they go home. That is exactly the same thing that happens on show and sell and on take orders. Both of them. We do a Friday night, and then Saturday morning, if those who choose not to come out and sort and do all that on Friday night, Saturday mornings, they're given a time, about a half an hour time slot. And we have about 3 or 4 units coming in at the same time picking up their popcorn. And that seems to work. By the time we get everybody there on Friday night, and then what few come out on Saturday, we are done no later than 10 o'clock on Saturday. We start picking up at 8 o'clock and we're out of there by 10. And that's what worked in our district. Now, the part that we need to definitely make sure that we understand is then when we return. Say we did our show and tell. Sorry, I'm a school teacher, can you tell? Show and tell. No, show and sell. So now we've got popcorn left over and you don't want that. There's too much that you don't need then for your take orders, and you need to return it. there will be a date set up that you can come back out to Gorman Rupp and you can bring the popcorn back. Now, the way this works is the cases must be full. So let's say that you have a bunch of those $10 carameled corns. And I think, what is there, 8?
It's either 4 or 8.
Yeah. I think there's 8 in a case. You cannot bring back a case that only has 7 in it or 3. It must be a full case of 8. Because then when we go to distribute that then on our take orders, then it's a full case. And we know what is in there. So it has to be a full case. So make sure that when you're doing these show and sells, that you don't bust open a case just for one if you don't think that you can sell everything else. Or your unit is actually responsible for the cost of that popcorn, or else, you're going to end up eating it and it cuts into your profits. That night there is no appointments taken. Either you're given a time spot and when to show up, and then you just come in, first come, first serve. You drop off the popcorn, you help sort it into the right piles. We do a quick check on it, make sure that it is properly in the right cases and everything is good, and then you can leave. Okay. Now, Brian gets to talk a little bit about what to do at Gordon Rupp or at any of your distributions. Some things, some quick tricks that we have learned with the organizations that allow us to come in and invade their space.
Okay, as you can tell, Brenda and I have been a good team on this. And I refer to us as she being the brains and I'm the brawn. Well, my brawn's kind of going away. But anyway, Gorman Rupp has been exceptional for Johnny Appleseed. And they have provided an area because it happens to be in their shipping and receiving area. And we can actually have cars drive right inside the plant for loading and unloading. And when we go through and set up the area, it depends on what they have in their shipping and receiving on how we're going to set it up. That's prior to that we even unload the pallets. And what we do is they have extra pallets there, and they have the pallet jacks, and we sort the popcorn in the order that the order sheet is. That way you're just running down the line, going down through, and it's all in order, and then the checks happen. Depending on, I think it's on each one of them, there is supposed to be a count of what is left over, especially on the show and sell, because that's when you're getting the bulk of your orders at that particular time. So after all the orders have been pulled and put onto the extra pallets for everybody to be able to take, we do a count of what is left over. And we've had a couple of times where it's been either short or long on the inventory on 1 or 2 items, and we've had to go back through and recount each one of those orders.
Yeah, everything has to match. Checks and balances. If there's one thing that does not come out right, just like, balancing a checkbook, you've got to start over. And nobody can take even their first order out of there until all orders are exactly right. Our paperwork has to be just right. Somebody has to be accountable for everything that is not there, or we have too much.
Right. Again, like I said, Gorman Rupp has been fantastic for us. And what we make sure of is they have particular bins for throwaway cardboard, for wood chunks, as far as standard trash. And what we do after everybody has basically gone, and we get out brooms and we sweep up the area that we've used. That way we're leaving it cleaner than what sometimes we've come into.
Yeah, it's like leave no trace, but step that up a few notches. Right. You have to leave your area better than what it was when you came in there. And you have to be respectful, because these are places of business. And generally on Saturday I go to Tim Hortons and get either donuts or donut holes or something like that. and or even the night before on the Friday nights if I have leftover pizza, anything like that. I generally track down the guys that are still there working, and I just make a donation of whatever we still have left over, and they just really appreciate it. Something else that we have done is when we are first there, that very first weekend for the show and sell. I'm gonna mess that one up again. Um, we try really hard to put an order form in their break room, and we've even gone so far sometimes in our local units is we'll buy a couple containers, especially like the one that has a little bit of everything in it. And yeah, it may be a $50 tin, but if you can turn around and leave that on a supervisor's desk to have them share with everybody for a couple shifts, it really shows them that we are really appreciative. Because let's face it, those guys and gals, they'll eat just about anything, and they like that kind of stuff. If they can walk by the break room and grab a handful of popcorn as they're running back to do their next line, they really appreciate that kind of stuff. So you need to be considerate and think of where you're at and the people that are allowing us to come into their space.
Yeah, because this popcorn is not just about the units. It's keeping a good rapport with your distribution center. If you run into problems, then it's a matter of getting hold of who's in charge as far as the overall popcorn and saying, hey, we have a problem. And we had one time in which popcorn was delivered in Mansfield, and turns out about 1/3 of our order went to Marion.
Yeah, so it really was a mess.
And
the hiccups will happen, and
right.
you get through them. Biggest thing that you need to know is once you leave the distribution center, and wait a minute, back that up. When you come from your popcorn, please make sure you have a vehicle that's big enough to take all your popcorn. We've had cases where people have come in with flatbeds, and it was cute. They managed it very well. And so this unit, if you're listening to this, I commend you, that you made me nervous. They came in and had blankets and rugs and bungee cords that they threw all over the top of all their orders to try to help hold it down and everything in order to get it home. They reassured me that they weren't going on any highway or road that was more than about 35 miles per hour.
And no bumps.
And no bumps. They actually texted me when they finally reached their destination and said everything made it. No dents, no breaks, no losses. But come prepared. Reach out to other family members. If you have to have more than one vehicle, then please do. Because it is important. This stuff is stuff that somebody else has bought and they don't want damaged product any more than you would. Also, when you get it home, think of your climates. Here in Ohio, of course, our weather changes every 5 minutes, something different. So make sure when you get that popcorn home, especially on Friday night, if you're like, oh, I'm tired, it's been a long day, and now I've done all the sort and everything. I'm sorry, but cold will make the chocolate turn white and look nasty, and warm obviously will melt the chocolate. So make sure that you've got enough bodies to help you get that out of your vehicle and into an enclosed, controlled environment.
Right.
Everything, because that's important, because you don't want to have to turn around and pay for that popcorn because it was damaged. And it will be your responsibility if it is damaged due to something like that. Also, if you find, especially on show and sell, that you need more popcorn, please reach out to your colonels. And your colonels then will, get a hold of Canton in our district office, and they'll place another order, and they'll let you know how much time you have that you can do this. And then they'll see to it that the popcorn is delivered down to the distribution centers or else to the offices, wherever it is for that particular district. So don't think just because you ordered just what you have there that, there is another popcorn that can be sold. The same thing for take orders. Sometimes all of a sudden somebody will be like, oh, this was fantastic, this was great, I would love to have more. You do have time to get some more popcorn, but in that case it is first come, first serve. Once the district runs out of popcorn, the council runs out of popcorn, they're not going to order more. So,
right.
Take that into consideration.
Or if there's leftover from other districts that they'll do a share.
They'll do a swap and a share.
Right.
So when in doubt, the biggest thing I want to say is make sure that the communication is open. And our particular district is Amy Heller. She is fantastic. Constantly calling her and texting her. I have her on my speed dial. Chris Hyde right now who has been fantastic. In the last couple of years, he's taken this on and he's done absolutely wonders at the council office. So don't be afraid to reach out to these people and have faith in your district colonels. Here in Johnny Appleseed Trail, we are stepping down. We've done it for a couple years, and we're kind of sad in the fact that we need to leave popcorn, but we need to for reasons that we just need to. And Jeff Sakrisky and his wife are taking it on. They're fantastic. They're energetic, and they actually are the ones that kind of helped us with the idea of having the scouts come in and help everything, because their children have been absolutely amazing. And he even said to me, I think it would be a good idea if we allow the scouts to do this because it's their popcorn. So they've had some fantastic ideas, and I know they're going to be a breath of fresh air for our district in doing this. So any questions, any concerns, my number's out there. You can call and ask. And anybody who wants help, and especially on the district colonel level, if you want to reach out and talk to Brian and I on things that have worked, things that haven't worked, we're willing to help and share and train and do anything that we can do to make this successful. So have fun, enjoy, make it fun. That's the key thing.
And communicate.
Communicate. Yep. Communicate. Thank you so much for listening to us, and enjoy.